I'm the end of the words, and this is a monumental video actually because I set a goal for how many books I wanted to read at the beginning of this year. That number was 50. This is my 50th book I've read this year. So, applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, a quick thing, if you watched my New Things Day video, my most recent one, actually, I think I'm going to upload this the same day, so ignore that statement. I was wondering about fluctuation of book prices from the past until now, because there was a book I had from 96 or 97, I believe. It was $26. It was a hardback, $26. And I thought that I could get this, like, the same thing almost, if not cheaper now. And the book I'm reviewing today has a cover price of $27.99, and it was published in 2012, I believe. May have been 2014. No, 2012. In 2012, there was only $1 difference, or a $2 difference, than 1997. That's interesting to me. I don't know why. It may be because I'm the dullest human being in the world. But let's get to the book. It is, and I don't know why it's not on here, Sir Elton John's Love is the Cure, on life, loss, and the end of AIDS. And that the subtitle bit would be a lot more accurate if it was on AIDS, 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 and AIDS, and AIDS. Because there's not much about life. There's not much about loss. No, there is a lot about loss. I lied there. And I'm just nitpicking. I'm being a little rough on this. I enjoyed this. I would have enjoyed it more had I mean, I wouldn't say I'm super educated on the subject, but I think I knew a bit more than somebody else maybe going into this who didn't know anything. And was just like saw Elton John and decided to be educated by Elton John. But it seemed a lot of the times he was kind of repeating himself, just reiterating facts. And I get it. Like, I know AIDS is a deal. AIDS is a crisis. AIDS needs to be, addressed. And this book is a gorgeous reason for why love could cure AIDS. Because if we love humans and we love individuals and everybody with it the same, if we stop the stigma of who has it, if we stop the stigma of how they get it, and that's not just home, that's not just in the US, that's not just in England, that's in African countries where homosexuality is a crime. You can't stop AIDS when homosexuals who are most at risk in these countries can't get help or can't get preventative measures because it's a crime. And it's a gorgeous story about that. He talks about his relationship with Ryan White, the boy who got AIDS from a transfusion, got pulled out of school. The parents didn't want him to come back. They actually filed appeals. Ryan White fought till the end like a normal person. That's all he wanted to do is be normal. Great story. Elton talks about him, about how many people he's lost. I mean, Freddie Mercury, a main one he talks about. I didn't know that Elton John and Freddie Mercury had drag queen names for each other that they actually called each other. That was a really interesting thing I got from this. Elton was a good friend of Princess Diana's, who was fought for AIDS cures and such. Elton's own. There's a decent amount of this, which I don't want to say it's him patting himself on the back, because I don't think that's what he intends to do with it, but it comes off that way once in a while, where he's talking about his own foundations and how much he's done, how much his foundations have done. And he doesn't take credit personally most of the time. He gives credit to his team members, the people who run the foundations. But the amount that's been done is astounding, but the amount that could still be done is even greater. And I don't want to say this focused me on AIDS. It didn't change my opinion of it, because it's not like I was happy about AIDS to begin with. I wasn't. That's the thing. I feel like there was moments in this where Elton, like we're friends, where Mr. John almost was. It seemed like he got a little emotional at times and felt like he was addressing somebody who ignored AIDS, or addressing somebody who was against curing AIDS, which is a bit weird because I don't think that there's many white supremacists. I don't think there's many racist bigots who are going to pick up an Elton John book and read it to begin with. I think he should have known his audience a little better. That being said, the book is still, it gets its job done. It gets the point across. It tells you a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of different things. And love is the cure. I understand where he's coming from. There were also times where maybe I'm too cynical, and he repeated it so many times. I was like, love is the cure, yeah, but let's be realistic. But I get it. I understand where he's coming from. We do need to care more about other human beings. We do need to help people when we can. We need to do everything we can. And AIDS, it could be stopped. There is scientific evidence to back up that if we prevent it long enough, it will go away. And we have the means to prevent it. It's just getting them out there and facilitating these preventative measures, these medications. But I was not expecting this to be a book about AIDS. Realistically, I thought this was a biography about Elton John's life. I just read Love is the Cure, didn't read this, and just said, oh, that's a nice name for a book. It's a nice name for an autobiography. And then I read it and thought, chapter 1, okay, it's about Ryan White, a little bit about AIDS, I get it. Then chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all about AIDS. I said, oh, so not a biography. There's a political agenda here. And if it worked for even 10% of the people that read this book, I'm sure this book sold pretty well. If it worked for 10 people who read it, that's 10%. That's great, because that's 10% more people who wouldn't have contributed prior. I appreciate him for this. I think I need to find his biography because I feel I cheated myself by not reading it. I don't regret reading this. Wouldn't read it again. Don't know if I'd recommend it to anybody because it's a very... You almost need a scalpel for this thing because it's surgically implanted. You have to dig out around and in the political agenda, if you will. I also realized I went back and forth on what I feel about this book. Let's just leave it with my rating. This is a 5.5 out of 10. Not bad, not great, but it's also hard for me. It's like when I watch a movie on Netflix, a documentary about the Holocaust, and it's over, and I'm like, oh, that was a great documentary. But I can't rate it 5 stars because then I feel like I'm giving the Holocaust 5 stars. It's almost like that. I can't give AIDS more than 5.5 stars. Sir Elton John, although he is a good writer, I don't know if he had a ghostwriter on this or not, but good writer. Okay book, 5.5. If you want to learn something about AIDS, if you want to see his viewpoint on it, read it because Elton John is a fantastic human being. That goes without being said. No matter what this book says or does, there's one thing it proves. This Elton John is a wonderful human being. 5.5 out of 10. Thank you.